What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You guys already know what it is. It's draft season all year long, and today we are going to be doing an Arizona Cardinals mock draft, a team that has had a ton of news swirling around the organization. Now, it's rumored that Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury will not be returning for the 2023 season, so that's very interesting in itself. There's going to be a ton of turnover with this team, the way it's operated, the way that it's coached. So very interesting to see how that's going to develop in the offseason. J.J. Watt has decided to retire. Just a phenomenal career. I'm sure Arizona Cardinals fans are disappointed to hear it, but just what a great career. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So, and the Cardinals, they're in shambles right now. They really are. And whenever you're drafting in the top five, you really got to hit these picks in the draft because this is a team that sort of needs to rebuild itself right now. They have the franchise quarterback. They don't have to worry about that, but they've got to build around him. I mean, that's really what they've struggled with, and it's caught up to them here as they sit here in the top five projected in the 2023 NFL draft. So if you are a Cardinals fan, consider sharing this video because the more views it gets, the more likely I am to make a Cardinals mock draft in the future. And if you guys like anything related to the NFL draft, this is going to be the channel for you, so consider subscribing. So let's start this draft right here. Okay, so whoa, whoa. Will Levis goes number one overall. Now, is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. Now we definitely don't need Bryce Young. Um, okay, this is interesting. I typically don't trade in these mock drafts, but I'm gonna consider it right here. I mean, let's just see. I mean, the Cardinals here at 6. I think I'm gonna do it. Let's see what they want though. So, and the only reason why I'm doing this is because I know they're trading up for a quarterback here. Because PFF's mock draft simulator for some reason thinks that they need quarterback when they just drafted Desmond Ridder. So I'm almost 100% positive that that is what it's going to be. Um hmm. So we definitely want the 6th overall pick. They're not going to give us a second though. That's really interesting. What if I give them the 3rd or no? See, it's a good thing that they have this probability chart on the bottom here. If I do this, yeah, okay. So we're going to get their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round pick for our 1st and our 3rd, and then also our 5th. Can we make it our 6th? I'm going to do that. Okay, so we got the number 6 overall pick. We got their 2nd round pick, and then we also got their 3rd round pick in exchange for the 4th overall pick, our 3rd round pick, and a 6th round pick. I think I did a good job on that trade right there. So right there, as I said, they're going to take Bryce Young. CJ Stroud goes here at number 5. Okay, and that leaves us here in a good position. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to take Brian Brzee right here. Now, Brian Brzee is listed as a defensive interior. That's exactly what he's going to play here for us in the Arizona Cardinals. Most likely going to be a 5 tech, not the nose tackle, but this is a dude with a lot of size, and that's exactly what you need from these edge rushers in a 3-4 scheme. This guy's hovering around 300 pounds, a major disruptor in the run game. That's really what we're bringing him in for, and he's basically the J.J. Watt replacement. And look, we're in a beautiful situation here where we have the ability to take the best player available and also fill a need at the same time. I'm not a person who strictly drafts for need because I feel like that constantly leaves you drafting for need year after year after year. Sometimes you gotta just take the best player on the board, just simply off of their value and where you're picking. But again, like I said, we're in a situation here where we're filling a need, taking the best player at the same time. And this guy is definitely going to be starting day one for us, stopping the run in the middle. I think it's something that the Cardinals can improve on. But in terms of their overall needs, I think the Cardinals could use interior defensive line, interior offensive line, outside linebackers, and some cornerbacks. So those are definitely some things that we're going to take a look at here in this draft. So Cardinals trade away the 4th overall pick so that the Falcons can get their real franchise quarterback in Bryce Young. We're going to go ahead and take Brian Brzee here with the number 6 overall pick. I feel like we did a great job in that trade with the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, sitting here with our first pick in the 2nd round now, we're going to go ahead and take Devin Witherspoon. Now, this is an easy decision for me. This is my number 2 corner in the draft, and this is a guy that I project to go in the 1st round of the NFL draft, even though He's ranked 38th here on PFF's big board and 51st in the average draft position. But Devin Witherspoon has been Illinois' #1 cornerback this entire year. A huge reason why this defense was able to have so much success in year and find themselves in the top 25 in the entire country. And for Devin Witherspoon, I mean, this is a lengthy corner who has the ability to make up ground, in those situations where he is a few yards off of a receiver. He has the ability to just negate that and just say, hey, here I am. I'm going to catch up to you, swat the ball away. Does a really good job of tracking the ball in the air. Does not panic a ton in coverage. So you don't see a ton of penalties called on him. But you can definitely rely on this guy to follow the opposing team's best receiver just strictly off of the talent that he possesses. And he's got a good skill set to go along with it. He's got very good technique, very smooth feet. And again, I think his makeup speed is probably one of the best attributes to his game. But he's not very far off in coverage most times when you watch him. So I'd love to have Devin Witherspoon here. I think he'd be a day one starter. He would take the place of Marco Wilson and could potentially be the #1 cornerback in Arizona. But to have him here in the second round, I just think is an absolute luxury. So we're going to take him here with the number 35 overall pick. Now, look, guys, this draft is unfolding beautifully because right over here, we're going to also fill in another need while it's also one of the better players on the board as well. So I don't feel like we're reaching for positions of need. They're just falling into place really right here with Luke Weipler out of Ohio State. And it's so crucial to have a center in the NFL. I don't think people realize how important that position is because the center is the guy who is making all of the calls for the offensive lineman at the line of scrimmage. He's, IDing certain guys and blitzes that are going to be coming. That's the guy who's doing it, right? The communicator in the middle. And he is the core of the offensive line. The tackles are extremely important in itself. But, center, this is a guy who has the ball in his hand, has to snap it, look right up, block somebody, also has to do the communicating along with it, as I mentioned. So we cannot ignore this position. And again, I really believe in building through the trenches, meaning the offensive and the defensive line. I feel like if you have a solid front on both sides, it's going to give you a chance. So Luke Weipler here, I think we're going to take out of Ohio State. Billy Price has just been atrocious here for the Cardinals. I believe statistically he's given up 6 sacks this year, which is just horrible. And he's never really been good in his career, to be honest. So for the Cardinals here to be in this great scenario where the center is one of the best players on the board, fills a need. It's also BPA right here. We're going to adjust that offensive line. So we got a defensive lineman to replace J.J. Watt. We're getting a center to improve the offensive line, help Kyler Murray out in terms of his interior help. And then we also got a cornerback. So this is really, really going well right now. What are we going to do here? Now, I'm very intrigued here to take John Michael Schmitz because this is a guy that's been praised a lot by PFF. And, PFF is the only way, at least statistically, that we can take a look at these offensive linemen. I think PFF has been a great help in terms of offensive linemen, but Michael Schmitz has been holding it down for Minnesota in the middle. So what we could have here is a competition here between fellow Big Ten members on who's going to be starting at center next year, and maybe the other person could potentially kick to guard. I definitely see that as a true option here. I love Jalen Hyatt. I think he should be going much higher, but we have so much depth at the wide receiver position that we just simply don't need him, and there's no room for him on this team. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take John Michael Schmitz, and like I said, have him and Weipler go into competition here this offseason, and, the loser just slide over to guard. I think both of these guys could be instant day one starters. And again, this is another scenario here for the Cardinals where one of the best players available also feels a need at the same time. This has probably been the best draft that I've had in the few mock drafts that I've done to start this draft season. We're going to go ahead and take John Michael Schmitz right here. Wow. And this is just an amazing draft for me, I think, because I love taking offensive and defensive linemen simply because I just think that building through the trenches is the way to go. I mean, you legitimately give your team a chance whether you have the backup quarterback in or not if you have a good offensive and defensive line. I mean, it starts with those two things, right? Being able to stop the run game, create pressure on the quarterback, right? That's going to disrupt any offense in the NFL in terms of the defense. And then on the offensive side, if you can give your quarterback, just a split second more, maybe 1 or 2 more seconds, just because you're more talented because of that offensive line, I mean, it's going to make all the difference for the offense as well. So I just really, really love building through the trenches. I'm going to ignore these grades given out by PFF, but I think we did a pretty solid job acquiring a second and a third round pick from the Falcons in order to, just get more players. But we got Brian Brzee here really with tremendous value here with the number 6 overall pick because there's so much need at quarterback early on in this draft. And then Devin Witherspoon. I mean, these are two guys. Actually, all 4 of these guys could potentially be starting day 1 for the Arizona Cardinals without a doubt in my mind. So I'm really happy with the way that this draft went. 3 out of the 4 players are trench players, meaning offensive or defensive linemen. Very excited to see that, and that's definitely going to help the development of this team overall. And Devin Witherspoon, again, like I mentioned, is going to be a day 1 guy taking the place of Marco Wilson. So let me know what you Cardinals fans think about this draft in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys all later.